contest is a non-title matchup and is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, the manager, Fabulous Frank. And he represents the current D1PW Caribbean Heavyweight Champion from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He comes to us at a weight of 220 pounds. This is Scott Kamadi. His opponent in the corner to my right hails from Cutler Bay, Florida. At a weight of 190 pounds, this is Keith Blond.
Pre-match here, non-title event. Keith Blond gets a chance to show his abilities and for a possible contendership role in the Caribbean Heavyweight title race as he faces our Caribbean Heavyweight champion, Scott Kamadi, in this one-fall matchup. We're in Cutler Bay, Florida, of course, as that's where Keith Blond was born and raised. He is definitely the hometown favorite amongst this crowd, as Scott Kamadi is going to be far behind on popularity points to start the matchup. So you can hear the crowd is loud here this afternoon. Sweat glistening off of both competitors as it is extremely warm. I know we've talked about it before, but it is hot. And that will take a toll on both competitors. Into the corner goes Keith Blond. Slap across the face by Scott Kamadi. Chuck Aaron has to restrain Keith Blond. Scott Kamadi has a chuckle and a talk with our friend, Fabulous Frank. He's in a really bad spot. There he goes with the crowd. He's in a very bad spot. This crowd's all over him and Kamadi in this matchup. Collar and elbow in the center of the ring. Scott Kamadi and Keith Blond. Knee lift into the gut by Scott Kamadi, who is currently running from the Falcon in the Falcon's quest to return to D1PW Caribbean greatness. European uppercut. Keith Blond is staggered. Shoots him across the ring. Up and over goes Keith Blond. The favors returned by Scott Kamadi. Fast and furious action. Again with a leap over, and Keith Blond just slapped the taste out of Scott Kamadi's mouth. Right hand into the corner by Keith Blond. Up and over the turnbuckles, pillar to post now. He's caught on the other turnbuckle is Scott Kamadi. And he's sent off into the center of the ring with a big full body slam off the top rope. Keith Blond, Fabulous Frank interferes by grabbing the leg of Keith Blond. Scott Kamadi, as you can see, is on the other side of the ring. Around goes Frank. Here comes Keith. He doesn't see Scott. Clothesline on the outside of the ring. Underhanded tactics brought to you by a smiling Scott Kamadi and Fabulous Frank. Fan throws a ball at Fabulous Frank. That's kind of funny in and of itself. Keith Blond gets ring posted. Hard forearm smash to the back of Keith Blond by Scott Kamadi, the champion. Once again, this is a non-title matchup. Scott Kamadi boot to the jaw. Keith Blond hits the corner hard. Chop in the corner by Scott Kamadi, who's got complete control. Another forearm. He's just beating him down. Backbreaker by Scott Kamadi in the center of the ring. Chuck Aaron's down for two.
Yeah.
Keith Blond with a lot of fight left.
Seems good.
That was almost low. But a big punch into the solar plexus. Now another. Now to the top of the head. Burying his attack, but he's fought out. He missed a drop kick, did Keith Blond. Elbow smash by Scott Kamadi. 2-0. Great pace in this matchup so far. Thoroughly entertaining matchup between Scott Commodity and Keith Blonde. Scott Commodity takes Keith Blonde into the turnbuckle. Huge chop across the chest. Scott Commodity, always in control it seems. Fabulous Frank on the outside. Modified side suplex. 1-0. Crowd is all over Frank and Scott Commodity. They're trying to get their man going here, who's at a severe disadvantage. He's got a leg scissors around the waist, trying to cut the air off of Keith Blonde. Now it makes it worse. He's rolled him over to his stomach area, rubs his forearm across his eyes. That is punishing. Body scissors by Scott Commodity. The pressure being applied to the rib area, the abdominal area of Keith Blonde. In a lot of pain here. Rubs his face in the mat. He's completely embarrassing Keith Blonde right now. Keith Blonde actually turned that into a pinning combination, got a 2 count. Now he's looking for a backslide. He's got a backslide in the center of the ring. 2-0. Look at this elbow by Scott Commodity. Knee to the back, in between the shoulder blades, and again, a third one. Now he's gonna take his arms and he's gonna put on the stretch. Knee posted in the back. Arms behind Keith Blonde as his torso is being stretched out completely. Very punishing series of moves by Scott Commodity. Using his head now for leverage in between the shoulder blades. All of these moves designed to hurt the back, take the power, and wear down Keith Blonde. Another knee posted in the back, and now a reverse chin lock as he cranks his head up into the lights. Sure, he's getting sun right in his eyes right now. His head is tilted straight up into the air. Fights back to a neutral base as Scott was talking to the crowd. Got distracted for a moment. Chin buster by Keith Blonde. Scott Commodity goes underneath the clothesline, double chop to the chest. And another elbow drop by Scott Commodity.
It's almost too easy. It doesn't even matter how much you guys cheer for him.
It's almost too easy, he says? Wow, that's going to antagonize your opponent. The antagonizing, instigating Scott Commodity. He says no matter how much you cheer for him, that he's going to beat him down. It doesn't matter. Sprints up to the top rope now. Took a little time and missed the big splash. High risk, high reward, and this time it does not pay off for Scott Commodity. He's not real happy right now. May have injured a wrist, I'm not sure, but I know that he's in a lot of pain. Chuck Oren begins the 10 count as both wrestlers are down. Scott Commodity has returned to his feet. Right hand sends Scott Commodity down, reverse elbow, stagger Scott Commodity. Atomic drop. Forearm. A flying forearm to the top of that of Scott Commodity. The momentum has turned. It's a count of 2-0. Keith Blonde, who we've seen several times in action, a very fierce competitor in the cruiserweight ranks. Scott Commodity, of course, the D1PW Caribbean Heavyweight Champion. Won that title, in case you're not familiar, in a fatal 4-way. And he was just taken down face first by Keith Blonde. Second rope fist to the top of the head of Scott Commodity by Keith Blonde. Fabulous Frank's up the ringside. Scott Commodity kicks out. So now Chuck Oren's going to be distracted. Keith Blonde's going to go over there and interject himself. He's got Fabulous Frank by the close. Gonna hit him? No. Scott Commodity saves Fabulous Frank in time. Scott Commodity still talking trash in the ring. Oh, the Falcon's out the ringside. The former D1PW Caribbean Heavyweight Champion just punched out Fabulous Frank. The Falcon now confronts Scott Commodity, who says he will not give him a rematch. Punch to the face by the Falcon. And a diamond cutter by Keith Blonde. 1, 2, and no. Not enough. Chuck Arden uses his officiating capacity to not disqualify Keith Blonde for the Falcons' interference. 2 chops across the chest by Scott Commodity, who's back on top. Runs into Keith Blonde in the corner and now rolls him up. A reverse roll up. 1, 2, 3. He got him. He reversed a roll through and gets the Duke. Keith Blonde takes home a big victory at D1PW here this afternoon in front of his hometown fans.
That puts a close on another great week of action here at D1PW.com TV and Division I Pro Wrestling.
What business did Falcon have coming out in our match?
He had a lot of business coming out in your match.
No,
You're
he
the ones
doesn't.
denying
No.
him a chance at the title.
No, it does not. Falcon has no business coming in the ring during our match. He's going to pay for that.
Well, I'm sure he might pay for it, but he's wanted to make his statement that he deserves a rematch for the belt that you guys took in a
We've gone
four-way.
over this time and time again. No rematch for the Falcon. As much as you want to follow us around, jump on our matches, it's not going to work. You're not going to get to us. You're not going to affect us.
Well, speaking of the Caribbean Heavyweight Championship and having defended it on our last show, I see that you've pretty much completely recovered from your problem.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I understand. I really wish we could replay last week's footage, you know, the parka and the pill bottle, yeah.
What do we have next week?
Anyway, next week coming up, we have Eddie Torres in action.
One of my favorites.
And Frank, we also have.
Logan Fournette is in action as well.
And then we will showcase next week's show by featuring a superstar, fantastic four-way as our main event. Love those four-way scramble matches.
It's going to be exciting. Everyone gearing up, ready for the Cruiserweight Championship. It's going to be on the line soon, and whoever wins this match is going to have a big step towards that direction.
Gerald Clark being I believe, the headliner of that match, probably.
Well, you got Jack Manley, you got Jason Moore, you got Austin Amadeus. They're all lining up, ready to take their shot for that D1PW Cruiserweight
That's going to be a fantastic, exciting main event with lots of action. It'll be non-stop for 30 minutes, as always, here on the first and finest in professional wrestling, Division I, ProWrestling.com. Wrestling done right. We'll see you right here next week. For Fabulous Frank, I'm George Whittle. So long, everybody.